Is anyone else wondering the same thing? And I watched Mitchell Mesenbrink last week, and then my mind started to go different places about just how good this kid is and how high he can place. And I think we're all probably wondering, something really similar here, because I think at this point, you've got a junior world champion, a junior world silver medalist. It would stand to reason that this is someone that's going to contend for All-American honors, right? And to this point, there's no denying that that's going to be the reality. And now the events of last week and his performance against Oregon State had me really curious about where does he stack with the upper echelon of 165. And don't kid yourself, 165 is not like most weights, right? Very few weights have two national champions contending in them. And this one does. It's got a two-time champion in Keegan O'Toole. It's got a national champion, a two-time finalist in David Carr. And it's got the man that beat David Carr, Julian Ramirez. It's got Isaac Olenek, who won the tournament that David Carr was in. So this is a really, really tough weight. And when Mitchell Mesenbrink transferred from California Baptist to Penn State, everyone got really excited about his prospects and how well he can perform. But what's unique about Penn State's schedule so far is that, Mitchell wasn't in the All-Star, and they haven't had any like super tough, highly ranked 165s yet. So we've got, coming into last week, his best win was over number 18, Brevin Casella of Binghamton. He won by tech there. So then all eyes were really focused on this 165 match at Oregon State, which, brief aside, round of applause to the job Oregon State did, getting 9,000 people plus to pack the arena, a record crowd for Oregon State, a record crowd for West Coast Wrestling. Great job, Coach Pendleton and company, and salute to the Penn State for headed out there, because it has a large impact on the sport of wrestling. But back to the topic at hand, Mitchell Mesenbrink, he's wrestling Matthew Olguin. Now, a lot of you may not know much about Matthew Olguin, and you don't know what a win over him actually means. So a little more context. Matthew Olguin was the Pac-12 champion last year. Now you may say, well, okay, Pac-12 champion is not exactly the toughest conference. Well, he beat Shane Griffith, an NCAA champion, to win it. And he beat Shane Griffith the week before. So the list of people with multiple wins over Shane Griffith, that's a really, really small list. And Matthew Olguin is one of them. He was ranked number 11. And so this was going to be Mitchell's biggest test of the year by far. So you're like, all right, how's he going to do? He comes out, and it's similar to what we saw in freestyle. It's tons of motion, tons of attacks, and the match was over 3 minutes and 46 seconds into it by tech fall. I mean, he's attacking one side, he's attacking the other side. He's hitting tilts from the top, he's countering defensively. He looked every bit the part. And so you could say, all right, well, that's a nice win. A little more context here. Okay, well, Matthew Olguin, this is his 5th college wrestling season, has never been teched in his entire career. It's never happened. Okay? So this is a guy that's been in the fire, right? He's got 80-some matches in his career, never been teched until last Friday against Mitchell Mesenbrink. So that to me sends a message. That says this guy is on the level. He's really, really tough. And so now you're like, all right, well, when are we going to see? So now we know for sure he's like an All-American type of guy for sure, and he's bonus and someone that's never won. But when are we going to see him against some tougher competition? Well, Penn State has on their dual schedule a couple tough matches for Mitchell. Number 5, Cam Amin, who I'm not sure if he's ever been bonused in his college career. This guy is tough to blow out. It very rarely happens. All his losses are really, really close. So if he can win that one, if he can win that dominantly, that would say a lot. And he would also have number 7, Michael Caliendo from Iowa, later on in the Penn State-Iowa duel. So he'll have 2 pretty tough tests there for sure. And then Dean Hamady waits at Big Ten championships. They're not dueling Wisconsin, so they're not going to see them. But it's a unique year, or it's a unique weight, I should say, the way it's the dynamics of it, because it's pretty rare that you would have a top 4 of any weight and have no Big Ten wrestlers. But that's the case with 165 this year. You've got Keegan O'Toole, 2-time champ. You've got Isaac Olenek, 1 CKLV. You've got Julian Ramirez, who beat David Carr. And you've got David Carr. David Carr, I think, is ranked 3rd. May have not done that in the exact order, but that it was the top 4. And they're all, 3 of them are Big 12. 1 is EIWA in Julian's case. And so for Mitchell, it's going to be a bit of a guess if he's on the level. And if you got to call your shot right now, there's not a ton of data. I mean, he hasn't wrestled an All-American yet. So you can go back a little bit if you want, and you look at his his Junior World Team Trials run 2 years ago, he beats Levi Haynes twice to make that team, and he gets second at the World. Mitchell does. And what does Levi go on to do? That next year, he's a true freshman, wrestles for Penn State, makes the NCAA finals. So that gives you a little picture of where Mitchell was. And then he makes the team again, and he's dominant throughout Junior Worlds, winning a title this year. So there's a lot of reason to be excited. And, what is also like potentially interesting, intriguing, however you want to characterize it, is a potential AWA, Askren Wrestling Academy versus Askren Wrestling, two longtime pupils of Ben, Keegan O'Toole and Mitchell Mesenbrink, potentially competing against each other at the NCAA tournament. Now, whether that would be a final, a quarter, a semi, remains to be seen, but there's a good chance that those two end up having a showdown. So, I don't know. Watching Mitchell, watching how he wrestles, watching his point scoring ability, I feel like it's a match. I feel like it's a match with the David Carr. I feel like it's a match with even Keegan. I feel like it's a match with Isaac Olenek. And I think he's going to be able to compete with a lot of these guys. And I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Keegan wrestling on Saturday night. I don't think you can rule that out, given all factors. And if you're looking for, Penn State's going to graduate Srirachi and Brooks next year. And so who's going to be the next guy kind of carrying the flag, scoring a lot of points? What I've seen from Mitchell Mesenbrink so far, it seems to point to him being that guy. So shoot me straight here. What do you guys think? Am I getting the cart way ahead of the horse when it comes to Mitchell Mesenbrink? Or am I maybe onto something? This guy's going to be a title contender this year.